did that go wrong for you?
Oh, we had some opportunities to put the game away. We just didn't do that, and then fourth quarter, they just made timely threes to keep himself in the game and give himself a opportunity. So they made the threes that kept them in it, and we missed some like really good looks.
The last 5 minutes was simply 21-4.
Uh-huh.
When that's going against you, what do you need to do to hold the momentum this year?
Well, like there's a couple plays where like they were being a little more aggressive up the floor, and we had like, I want us to be aggressive, kick ahead, take those open ones, because if they go down, we win the game. And I want to be aggressive, positive, trust the players in those moments, So, like you rattle off those stats, like I think maybe when we played them over there, it was flipped, So whoever's writing the script for this is probably loving what they're seeing.
Ask about Du's tech foul.
Yeah.
You spoken to him about it, and what was your reaction to it? What is your reaction to it now?
Well, like the game's full of emotion. He comes under a lot of defensive pressure. So I'll have to watch the film, but during the game, I certainly thought he was fouled in that moment, which was like very key. There was a lot of things throughout the course of the game that lead to that. As I said, we had our moments where we could have won the game, and we just allowed them to hang around.
After the Cameron basket, you could have taken a time out. Did you think about it, or was there too much going on?
No, and I've done this the whole time here. Like, if we can get it in and play with a pace, like stopping, allowing them, they had no timeouts left, like allowing them to set their defense. Like, I like those advantage moments, like Duke getting downhill or Doolittle getting downhill, like maybe a kick ahead to win, like trusting your players in those moments. And there was plenty of time for us to manufacture a shot.
So you wouldn't do that? You would do a timeout again?
No, like the way I approach those moments is like if it's like probably 6 or below, then we'll take a timeout and advance it.
You reckon in the last 2 minutes of the game, it's really close, has been more this year compared to the past? When you've won, maybe sort of those last 2 minutes.
Yeah.
How do you fix the crunch time moments to make sure that Cody's there, blokes make the shots?
Yeah, like it's easy to reflect on the fourth quarter, right? But if you look at the way we closed the majority of the quarters tonight, we allowed them to gain a little bit of momentum. And any team that is playing at a high level will finish the quarters. And we just haven't been doing that consistently and good enough this season so far.
What can you do to fix that?
Yeah, like just reflecting, and we need to watch, but I just felt like we got bogged down a little bit versus just playing with pace and momentum, and just taking what they gave us. We got just like too much middle ball, probably waiting for the clock to run down, versus playing with a nice pace like we did for the first 30-35 minutes.
On that as well, though, you've got a really well-balanced team this season as compared to the last couple of years. Are you kind of missing potentially that one guy down the stretch to be able to go to get a couple of easy buckets to really establish yourselves in the offensive end late in games?
Well, like I think we're evolving in that area, because for the last 9 years, as clubs knowing what's going on in that point of the game. But I like the way it could be a number of guys, and that's serviced us well in like the recent time. What I don't want to get lost in this, in the space of 4 days, we've played the top 2 teams. And although we're not there, we're knocking on the door. And I talked to the team about, like, let alone basketball, life has moments where you get tested, right? This is going to be a moment where we can learn and move forward, which I'm very comfortable and confident that will happen, because this team has shown great resolve so far as we're moving through the season. So you live and learn and you move on, and I look forward to the next time we're in this situation and how we handle it.
Actually writing that the season finally weekend, you guys beat the top 2 teams and all that sort of stuff, just as he just said, and now it changes 2 minutes later. Like, how damaging is it for momentum momentum and confidence expected to then lose one when you had it in your hands?
Look, I think it's disappointing. Obviously, the raw emotion right after the game, like you don't want to lose, and obviously to be up 20 and then to lose a close one. But I think when we reflect and go back to the drawing board, it's a big positive, right? You learn from it the next time this happens, and you could say that's probably finals basketball coming up on the horizon. So I think for us, yeah, we're disappointed, as we should be. We had a great win against Melbourne on Thursday. We expected a great win tonight, but now all our attention has to go to Sydney. But I think when we reflect on it, yeah, we got to learn from this and as a group, see how we can keep getting better. Because, if you rest on your laurels, the season goes too quickly, and now you find yourself in a slump.
It's been a long time going Bryce. How do you see his game and what it's like with the emotion of his building and trying to play against him?
Rightfully so. I think he got his flowers at the beginning. He's done a lot for this club and for the city. 5-time MVP, 5 championships. So, yeah, you definitely got to respect that and pay homage to that. But then once the game starts, it's Perth versus the Wildcats. It's not Wildcats versus Bryce. So, I think for us it was I think for 35 minutes we played great basketball. We followed our game plan. We executed quite well, and then fell apart in that last 5 minutes. And the coaches keep harping on it, and we've got to put 40 minutes together. And obviously it showed tonight, and in a way that we didn't like, but we've got to keep moving forward.
How difficult is it to coach against Bryce?
Sorry?
How difficult is it to coach against Bryce?
Oh, no, I think everyone involved on the teams have moved on from that. We spent a lot of time, and rightly so, figuring out how to slow him down. But as you saw, and as I talk about, DJ hits a big 3, Isaac White, there's a reason they're second on the ladder. They're a good basketball team, and it's just not a one-man show. So it's this is what you play and involved in sport for, is these type of moments and the challenges that come along with this.
As locked in as you would have been pre-game on the actual match, did you have time to appreciate what happened for the 2 or 3 minutes when the crowd was going nuts and paying tribute to Bryce?
No, I was more worried about once the referee threw the ball up. But, I got a sneak peek of the video earlier on in the week, and, Bryce and I are good with our competitive juices in these moments.
Can you talk on that game plan? It was clear the idea was to get the ball out of Bryce's hands and really try to allow others to create and score and beat you guys. And Isaac had 28, Zion had 20. What were some of the things that broke down potentially where you could limit Bryce to sort of passing the ball and getting out of his hands, but you couldn't really stop those boys getting the rim?
Yeah, and you're putting me on the spot here, but I just think there was moments in transition where they just played it at their pace versus us getting back and slowing them down and getting it into a more half-court stagnant. They played with just too good of pace in too many moments throughout the game, not just the fourth quarter. Talked about at halftime where the first quarter, they found themselves in a nice rhythm, and we weren't disruptive enough in those moments.
With that pace as well, your team finished with 0 steals in this particular one, and how important it is sometimes to start your offense from your defense as well. What does that kind of come down to in this particular game with a team like Adelaide?
Oh, look, I think the style of play, both teams, and if Adelaide doesn't turn it over the least, they're top 2. And part of that is they do a good job of keeping the ball in Bryce's hands like we did, and we were one of the teams that turned it over the least. So, when you play against good players, they're just not going to hand you the ball. And we'd like to be more disruptive, but they did a good job of looking after the ball, as I would hope our team would as well, irrespective of the type of defense you play against.
You guys did a great job tonight, at least into that fourth quarter, of stopping Bryce from scoring for the most part and forcing the ball out of his hands and forcing him to pass. Tactically, what went into that, and how did you manage to make it happen?
Well, we spend time watching a lot of film, figuring out what his strengths and weaknesses are, and then David Duke is the initiator of that. He does a great job individually, but then the other guys involved in the actions doing their part. So, the guys get very dialed in for this moment, and the attention to detail with the assistant coaches and the time and effort they put into it is, we look good for 36 minutes.
Anyone observe? Anyone else?
Very good.
Yep, no worries. Thank you.